guys, welcome to another speed build. I hope you're all having a great day. It has been a little while since I have built an apartment in San Myshuno, and I was really in the mood to do so, so that is what we are building today. We are over in the arts quarter of San Myshuno, and the exact apartment is 121 Hakeem House. And you can see the name up in the top left hand corner if you need to see exactly how it's spelled, but this is also where the Jang family originally lives, so it's probably easier just to find where they're located and then kick them out so that you can live here instead. And of course, this is available to download if you want on my gallery, which my gallery ID is linked in the description box and on my main profile on YouTube. So I originally was going to build in the apartment next to this one. I kind of prefer that a little bit more, at least for my personal gameplay. But it was a little bit on the large side and I wanted a little bit of a smaller apartment, even though this is pretty large too. It ended up being 4 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, which is pretty big for an apartment, but this was pretty much my only option as far as sizing goes. Like, this is the smallest I could find that didn't have like rat holes and stuff like that. Like, I really didn't want to build in the apartments of less quality, so to speak. I wanted a higher quality apartment. Like, I didn't want rat holes. I didn't want some random outline of a sim in my apartment. I didn't want it to be haunted. Yes, there was Penny Pizzazz's studio apartment, but that was a little bit too small, guys. So I needed it a little bit bigger, but not too big. And so this is pretty much my last option. And I don't think I've actually built an apartment here yet. Maybe I have. The single father one that I built, maybe I did on this one, but I don't think I did. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't remember. So I decided to build my single mom of 4 boys here instead. So, like you probably seen on the title of this video and the thumbnail, this is an apartment that's furnished for a single mom of 4 boys and 2 cats. I just love to do single parent apartments. I think it's so fun. And I've never done one quite like this yet with just all boys, and a lot of them at that. And so this apartment actually ends up being pretty cluttered, like the most cluttered I've ever made a build in general, whether that's an apartment or a house. You will see there's a lot of literal clutter everywhere in the living room. There's a lot of toys and a book bag with their schoolwork and clothes and shoes just spread out all over the place, and you'll see throughout this build how cluttered I actually make it, and sometimes it's even a little bit on the dirty side, I guess. One thing I really thought was super cute was in the dining room right next to this kitchen, I put a high chair for the infant, and I grabbed that little, I guess it's in the rug category or maybe the clutter category, but I feel like it's in the rug category. But anyways, it's like a little synthetic food rug or whatever, but in my mind it's real food. And I put it right next to the high chair, like right under it, so it looks like the infant made a mess while eating. And I absolutely loved that detail. It really made the single mom of 4 boys like concept kind of come to life, if that makes sense. So I thought that was a super cute addition. But right now we are working on the kitchen. The actual cabinets, I do keep these specific ones. I just changed the swatch from this one to the more yellow top and then the lighter wood on the bottom. I felt like the white was just a little bit too white. We're going for a cluttered, we're going for a family apartment. I just thought this was a little bit too clean looking, especially once I added all the clutter on top of the white cabinets. It wasn't doing what I wanted it to do. So once I changed it to the yellow countertops and then the light wood on the bottom, it definitely looked so much better after that. So I'm using a lot of items from the kitchen clutter kit. We have the grocery bag in the corner, we have the box of cereal and the jar of cookies next to it. I wanted a lot of the interactive kitchen items in this kitchen just to make your gameplay a little bit easier, especially if you actually have a single mom of 4 boys. You're going to want the boys to come in here and just grab a bowl of cereal for breakfast right before school, just to make it easy, you know? And I thought another fun touch would be to put a waffle maker next to the stove. I could totally see this mom making waffles for the boys every weekend. And then I added a bowl of eggs right next to it and a little recipe book next to that, so it looks like she's looking up the specific recipe for whatever she's cooking, whether it be the waffles or something else. And of course we have a microwave. This is a single mom of 4, so we need all of the quick meals we can get. On the countertop next to the fridge on the left side, I have a little bread box and a couple more of the kitchen clutter kit items. Those are not functional though. Those are just for show, but I do like how I kind of have them on a diagonal instead of straight next to each other. I just feel like that adds an extra touch of like the busy mom life, if that makes sense. Like it looks like she just picks it up and puts it down and leaves it there wherever it ends up landing because she doesn't really have time to make things all perfect because she knows with a house full of boys, nothing is going to be perfect in this house anyways. And then on the island in the center of the kitchen, I have a little bowl full of vegetables at the moment, but in just a little bit after I add the kitchen table, I do end up adding a couple of lunch boxes there. I felt like that looked too clean without anything else other than the bowl of veggies. Compared to all of the other clutter items on the rest of the counters in the kitchen, it just looked too clean. You know, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So I thought adding the lunch boxes made a lot of sense and made the island match the rest of the kitchen a lot better. So as you can see, we do have the kitchen table basically right off of the island. That was literally the only place I could put it. I don't have anywhere else on the apartment. I didn't really think about the dining room too well, but luckily there was enough space in the hallway right here that I could just plop it in. And it leads directly to the living room up on that additional platform, so it kind of makes sense layout-wise anyways. I usually love to have the dining tables, especially in these like super high-rise apartments, to have windows to be able to overlook the city, but unfortunately we could not do it in this apartment. At least though, half of the table, depending on where you're sitting, half of the table is able to kind of see out of the living room window, so that's a plus, I guess. It's better than nothing. Just choose your seat wisely. That just makes you want to get to the dining table a little bit quicker. Even though I'm sure this mom doesn't have a problem with getting her kids to eat though. With growing boys, they are probably fighting each other to get to the dining table for dinner anyways. So we are now working on the living room, and I have never used these couches from high school years yet. I just never could find a good way to use them, and I don't love to have the exact same couch right next to each other like I do here, especially when there's pillows and blankets on it as decoration, because it looks too much the same. But maybe that makes sense. Maybe I could, make it work. I could see the mom totally just getting the same couch and putting the exact same decorations on both couches in the exact same spot. Let's just go with that. But to be fair, once I add all of the clutter decorations around it, it really matches with each other. When it's just the couches in the room, it really does look too alike, but once you add everything else, it doesn't look so bad. But I do love these couches. I love the throw blanket. It adds an additional cluttered look that we need for this apartment. Plus, I absolutely love this green color. I think it is so pretty. It matches the rest of the green accents in this house literally perfectly. Like these lights, I feel like the lights are a little bit more blue than the couches, but they match at the same time. Like I feel like it's working with each other. But the couches and the dining chairs tell me that is not the exact same green. I absolutely love when you have items from different packs match each other so well. It makes me happy because that does not happen a lot. We are now starting to add all of the little clutter items in the living room. So I have a box of toys from Parenthood. That is not a functional box of toys. It's literally just for decoration. And then the little like group of clutter items, it's like some clothes, it's some books out of a backpack, and just a lot of random stuff. That is from kids room stuff, and I absolutely love that object. I think it's so cute, especially in like cluttered builds like this, or just kids rooms in general. it makes it obvious kids live here. Because kids don't care about cleanliness. It's almost like kids really enjoy clutter. I firmly believe that, to be honest. I also love how on each of the nightstands next to the couch, I added lamps, and I usually just leave it at that. But in this build, I decided to add more clutter items next to it. On one side, I have a little digital picture frame so that it can sort through all of the pictures that you put in there of the family. And then it also has a plant. And on the other side, there's another plant because you can't have too many. And also a hat from one of the boys. I just thought that was a really cute touch. And on this side of the living room, you have a giant flat screen TV because that is needed in any household, you know, a group of boys or not, you need a flat screen TV. But since it is a mom of 4 boys, I decided to add a PlayStation in the living room with some different like clutter items from high school years next to it. It has like a remote, it has some CDs, probably maybe some game discs, and baseball, and just some random stuff. I have a little radio next to that, like one of those smart speaker radios with some pictures of probably some of her kids next to it, and some more like toys. I have a little grabby mat for the infant, and I also put a cat scratching post in there. I don't think the cat will be able to get to it though because there's so much clutter in front of it. It was just for another object, to be totally honest. But there is going to be a cat tree in that other hallway that's leading to the master bedroom. And so the cat should be able to use that to scratch on. If not, they'll just scratch your couch, which is realistic anyways. It's fine. You can just replace the couch. Any cat owner knows that is 100% the truth though. It doesn't matter if you have a scratching post, if you have a dozen cat trees, your cat will still scratch your couch. It's just in their nature for some reason. And the final touch of the living room, I decided to replace that mirror with these pictures instead. I thought the mirror, you know, it was cute. I do end up putting it in the mom's room though, so it's somewhere in the build. But I thought it just looked too small on that large wall. I thought those pictures looked a lot better. It made it look a little bit more cluttered in there, which is the vibe we're going for. And it just looked better than the mirrors, I guess is what I'm trying to get at. But yeah, I'm really happy with the way that the living room turned out. As I was playing and adding items and like in the game building, I was worried it was a little bit too busy and too cluttered, but at the end of the day, that's literally the vibe of this whole apartment. And looking back at it now, I actually think it looks really, really good. I'm super happy with it. And I'm not sure if you guys noticed or not, but as I was furnishing the living room, I did go back and add the high chair with the little like pile of food under it. How cute is that? How realistic is that too? I feel like that really is a realistic thing. It looks like you just fed your kid, and what infant or toddler doesn't drop food on the floor? They literally do it on purpose some of the time, or at least maybe even most of the time, especially if you have a dog or a cat that they find entertaining to feed, then they will 100% drop the food on the floor on purpose for that animal. And this family does have 2 cats, so it makes sense for the infant to feed them purposely. So I am now furnishing the mom's room, and I'm not gonna lie, I did find this room a little bit difficult to furnish, mainly because of the super large windows, and I don't typically put items in front of windows when they're like floor to ceiling windows like this. I just don't think it looks very good, but I had literally nowhere else to put the dresser. And you would totally do this in real life. If you had a room like this where half of the walls had floor to ceiling windows because you're in like a skyrise apartment, you would totally put things in front of the windows because you would have no other choice. So it does make sense at the end of the day, and at least I didn't put anything in front of the one that's directly in front of the bed so that you have a perfect view of the city. I did it on the one that's on the left side of the bed, or well, right side depending on how you're looking at it, but if you're laying in the bed, it's on the left side. So yeah, so I decided to put the dresser in front of that window, and I did a short dresser, like one of those short long ones, so you still have a really good view out of the window, so it's not the end of the world. And then I have a floor mirror next to it. That's probably where the mom like gets ready and does her makeup and stuff. I have some little makeup items. I think I end up putting it on the floor in front of the mirror, and just some random clutter items on the dresser. One of the ones I have is like a tray with like a brush and stuff. I just thought that was a realistic item to add, and I don't ever use that item, I don't think. If I do, I usually put it in bathrooms, but it was kind of fun to put it in the mom's room instead. I also put a little computer desk in her room so that she had her own private computer. The mom and the teenager, they are actually the only ones with computers in their room, and I was not able to fit another one in anywhere else in the apartment. So if you want the kids to have their own, you'll just have to add that. But I figured the mom would probably let them come in and use her computer if she's not using it. And I also added an easel in her room. I figured that's what she does for a living. She paints and sells her paintings at the flea markets or whatever festivals that's going on in San Myshuno, or maybe she lists it on Plopsy or finds a way to sell them, but she makes pretty good money selling her paintings, and so she's pretty successful doing so. And that's why she can afford such a nice apartment, especially being a single mom. We are now working on the master bathroom, and I know she's a single mom, so a double sink and a double shower is not needed, but I feel like it's realistic to have at least a double sink. I know not all apartments have double showers or houses. That's pretty rare to find, but I have a lot of fun making showers like this. And you never know. Maybe mom finds a partner and she invites them over. They can both take a shower at the same time. But I feel like it's realistic to make it into like a his and hers sort of bathroom, because that's how it would be in real life. Especially in a master bathroom, typically it's a couple sharing it and they don't know if it's a single mom or not, or a single parent. And so usually a lot of the master bathrooms and houses and apartments, they'll have double sinks at the very least. And so that's why I ended up doing it here. And I did put the litter box in the mom's bathroom. That was like the best place I feel like I could put it. So the first of the kids' rooms I'm furnishing is for the infants. I wanted to do something different than I normally do. I do a lot of like blues for boys, which this is blue, I guess, but it has the wallpaper that honestly reminds me of Animal Crossing. This one is from Parenthood, and it's like a bluish greenish, or blue and green together. And so that's a little bit different. I don't use this wallpaper like ever. I've used it a few times in the past, but I do really love it, especially because it does remind me of Animal Crossing. And I just think it's super cute, especially for an infant's room like this. And so we have a crib with a couple of nightstands next to it, and I put some little soccer ball lamps on each side. We have a cute little teddy bear chair that the infant will be able to use once they grow into a toddler. We have a changing table. We have a toy box with some blocks in front of it. And that's pretty much it, to be totally honest. The infants can't really do a whole lot besides those items, and then the grabby mat, which the grabby mat is in the living room. So I didn't really want to add a second one in the bedroom. Like, you can click and drag that grabby mat wherever you want to put it, but I feel like the best place for it is the living room. Makes the most sense. I do have a toddler potty for when the infant grows up in this bathroom. This is the main bathroom. This is where the guests will probably go to use the bathroom, but it's mainly for the boys, obviously. Like, all 4 boys share this bathroom, which I feel like is so fun. So I decided to do a little like anime looking bath mat. I feel like that makes sense for a boys' bathroom. I really wanted the bathroom to be obvious that it was a group of boys sharing it. It is on the clean side though. I would have liked to have made it a little bit more dirty, but I'm sure through your gameplay with all of these boys, or really just Sims using it, it'll get dirty pretty quickly. So, and another fun thought would be like the mom knowing that bathroom is probably not the cleanest since it's 4 boys sharing it. And so if she has any female guests that come over, she's probably gonna be like, yeah, you might want to use my bathroom. I feel like that would totally be what would happen in real life. At least that's what I would do if I was the mom. So the next bedroom we're furnishing is for the teenager, and I don't do this often at all, but I thought it was a really cute idea to make this teen into like DJing. Like he loves to play his guitar and play different musical instruments, but his true passion is to DJ. And so I have one of the like makeshift at-home DJ stations where he has some like folding table looking things and he has some turntables on top of that. It really reminds me of like old school DJing, and I just love that station. And I never use it in builds, only few and far between. Like very seldomly will I use it, and almost never will I put it in a teen's room to have a teenager have a passion for it. It's usually only like young adult sims, and so it was super fun to do it in this teen's room. And this would definitely be the apartment that would aggravate you. This will be the one that's playing loud music at night, and the mom's probably constantly lecturing her son like, you need to not do that. Once it gets dark outside, put your headphones on. And then he probably doesn't listen. We also have a computer desk in here for the teen, and I have pretty much the same one I think I used in the mom's room in here as well, just different swatches. The smaller, skinnier desks were the only option for both of these rooms. The other ones just didn't fit. But I do really love to use that one. I think that is actually from City Living too, if I'm not mistaken. But it's fun to add different clutter items at the top where the top shelf is. And in the teens room, I added like a box of shoes that's probably like a limited edition pair of shoes. And so he doesn't wear them, he just puts them on display. And then next to that, I added another hat, because you can't have too many hats when you're a boy. So there's one in the living room, probably his too, and then another one in his room. I also put a lava lamp next to his bed, so it has like a bluish hue to his room. I thought that was super fun. I'm using the bed from Lovestruck that's like basically a mattress on like a super cheap frame, and it's like kind of messy looking. I love to do that in my teens rooms. I just feel like it tells a story that the teen just does not care. And then a pile of clothes next to his bed to make it look even more cluttered. And on his walls, I just put a lot of posters basically. And above his bed, I put some of the framed posters that is from the like man cave kit. I can't really remember the exact name. But yeah, I love to add those photos in my teen boys rooms or any like bachelor room too. I think it's fun. I love the swatches on there. There's like cars and there's some like drinks. There's a little remote, like a PlayStation remote, and then there's some that are like women. I just think that's such a fun thought and realistic too. And last but not least, we are working on the kids room. So there is 2 kids that share this room. I figured they were probably twins. And so we have a bunk bed that they share. I'm doing a sort of like solar system theme. Maybe they're super into the solar system. There's a mental table in here. There's a large stuffed animal with a couple of imaginary friends. And I did put a little pile of sports equipment by the front door, so maybe they're into sports as well. I also end up putting a Void Critter game machine in here too. I figured since there's 2 kids sharing this room, they probably battle each other on there all the time and trade their Void Critter cards, and that just sounds fun to me. And I also put a creativity table in here too. So there should be everything the kids need to work on all of their skills. But we have officially reached the end of our speed build for today. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. I had so much fun building it and going over it with you guys. Of course, if you did enjoy it, please consider leaving a like and also subscribing if you have not already. Share this video with your friends if they are simmers as well, and if you think that they would enjoy it. Don't forget to comment down below what your favorite part of today's speed build is. Of course, this is available to download on my gallery, which is linked in the description box below. And of course, this apartment uses platforms, so all of the platforms will be level with each other when you download this, so feel free to refer back to this video to see where exactly I added each of the platforms. I hope you all have an amazing day or night. Stay tuned for the screenshots if you're interested, and I'll see you all in the next one very soon. Bye guys!